Liang Cheng sat alone in the corner of Brew and Bounce, a bustling downtown cafe that thrived on mid-morning caffeine rushes and the constant hum of conversation. At 28, Liang had perfected the art of being unnoticed, blending into the background like a chameleon in an office cubicle jungle. Today, however, he felt more conspicuous than ever, nervously swirling his coffee and glancing around the room. "Okay, Liang, you can do this," he muttered to himself, straightening his glasses. He had always been awkward socially, physically, emotionally, but lately, things had taken an even stranger turn. Over the past month, Liang had discovered he possessed abilities that defied explanation: enhanced agility, the uncanny knack for sticking to walls, and, most bizarrely, the ability to shoot webs from his wrists. It had started innocently enough. One evening, while trying to juggle too many takeout orders, Liang had accidentally disarmed a mugger by webbing his weapon to the wall. Since then, his life had become a series of clumsy mishaps and awkward attempts to control his newfound powers. Today, he was trying to figure out how to navigate his abilities without drawing unwanted attention. As he attempted to discreetly sling a web to open the door, Liang's nerves got the better of him. The web shot out with a wet snap, but instead of hooking onto the handle, it latched onto his face, turning him into a human fly. The cafe erupted in laughter, and Liang's face burned with embarrassment. He hastily pulled the web off, but the damage was done. "Nice one, Spider-Man," a voice teased from the adjacent table. Liang glanced up to see two men sharing a laugh over their coffees. Little did he know, they were not ordinary patrons, they were members of the very alliance he was about to discover. Trying to salvage his dignity, Liang attempted to laugh along, but his nervousness betrayed him. "Yeah, well, I think I've got some new skills to work on." The two men exchanged a knowing glance. "You think you're the only one?" one of them asked, a hint of amusement in his eyes. Before Liang could respond, a loud crash echoed from the entrance as a group of thugs stormed into the cafe, causing a stir. The room froze for a moment before chaos ensued. Tables were overturned, chairs scattered, and the air filled with shouts and confusion. Liang's instincts kicked in. He swung his web to the ceiling, feeling the familiar rush of adrenaline as he prepared to act. But something was different this time. Instead of a clumsy attempt, his movements were fluid and precise. He disarmed a thug effortlessly, his webs flying with practiced ease. The other patrons watched in awe as Liang deftly took control of the situation, neutralizing the threat with surprising competence. As the last of the thugs fled, the cafe fell silent once more. Liang stood there, chest heaving, trying to process what had just happened. The two men from before approached him, their expressions a mix of respect and curiosity. "Not bad for a rookie," the first man said, extending his hand. "Name's Marcus. And this is Jenna." Liang shook Marcus's hand, still trying to catch his breath. "Thanks. I guess I'm still getting used to all this." Jenna smiled. "We figured you'd be. Welcome to the Spider Alliance." Liang blinked, confusion evident on his face. "Spider Alliance?" Marcus nodded. "Yeah. Turns out, I'm not the only one with spider powers. There are others out there, hidden in the city, working together to keep things under control and protect against threats like Omega Biotech." Before Liang could respond, another surge of chaos erupted outside. The Spider Alliance members sprang into action, coordinating their efforts to secure the cafe and ensure everyone's safety. Liang watched in awe as his new acquaintances moved with purpose and skill, their camaraderie palpable. As the dust settled, Marcus turned to Liang. "Looks like Omega Biotech isn't the only player in town. We've been keeping an eye on their illegal genetic experiments for a while now. They're trying to create super spider hybrids for military use, and it's gotten out of hand." Jenna added, "We need people like you to help us fight back. Are you in?" Liang hesitated, the weight of the situation sinking in. "I don't even fully understand what's happening. How many people have these powers?" "Enough to make a difference, but not so many that they can't stay hidden, Marcus replied. It's a secret, but we've managed to keep it that way. Until now. Liang took a deep breath, his mind racing. The revelation was overwhelming, yet a part of him felt a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced before. Okay, I'm in. But I need to understand everything first. Jenna nodded. Fair enough. Let's get you to a safe place where we can explain more. Later that evening, Liang found himself in a nondescript warehouse on the outskirts of the city, transformed into the Alliance's headquarters. The space was surprisingly well organized, with various training areas, communication hubs, and a central meeting room where the members gathered. Xiaoyu entered the room, her presence commanding attention. In her early 30s, she exuded confidence and mystery, her eyes sharp and observant. Welcome, Liang. I'm Xiaoyu, one of the leaders of the Spider Alliance. Liang felt a mix of admiration and intimidation. It's an honor to meet you. Xiaoyu smiled warmly. Let's start with the basics. As you now know, Omega Biotech has been conducting illegal genetic experiments to create super spider hybrids. These experiments have granted individuals like yourself extraordinary abilities, but they come with great risk. Omega Biotech views us as threats to their agenda, and they're not afraid to eliminate anyone in their way. She gestured to a wall displaying various profiles. These are some of our members. Each of us has different spider-related powers: superhuman strength, enhanced senses, web manipulation, and more. Together, we form the Spider Alliance, working to counter Omega Biotech's plans and protect our fellow empowered individuals. Liang's mind raced as he took in the information. Why us? Why were we chosen? Xiaoyu leaned forward, her expression sincere. Because Omega Biotech sees us as valuable assets or threats, depending on their needs. By uniting, we can better protect ourselves and ensure that our powers are used responsibly. We're not superheroes, just ordinary people trying to make a difference. As she spoke, Liang felt a growing sense of purpose. Despite his awkwardness and uncertainty, he realized that this was his chance to contribute to something bigger than himself. Xiaoyu continued, we need to train you to control your abilities and integrate you into the Alliance. But first, we need to ensure your safety. Omega Biotech is always watching, and their spider hunters are relentless in their pursuit. Just then, the lights flickered, and an urgent alarm blared through the warehouse. Red lights flashed, and the room buzzed with tension. Omega Biotech has detected our location, Marcus announced, his voice steady despite the chaos. Spider hunters are on their way. Panic threatened to set in, but Xiaoyu quickly took charge. Everyone, move to your designated stations. Liang, come with me. We need to get you to the training area. Liang followed her, his heart pounding. The reality of the situation was sinking in. He was now part of a covert battle against a powerful corporation, and his life would never be the same. In the training area, Xiaoyu began instructing Liang on how to harness his web shooting abilities more effectively. Focus on control, she advised. It's not just about firing webs, it's about precision and timing. Liang concentrated, feeling the familiar tingling in his wrists. He aimed a web at a nearby wall, missing by a mile. Damn it, he muttered, frustration evident in his voice. Relax, Xiaoyu encouraged. It's natural to struggle at first. Let your body adjust to the power. Think of it as an extension of yourself. As Liang practiced, he couldn't help but feel a sense of camaraderie with the other Alliance members. Despite their diverse backgrounds and personalities, they all shared a common goal: to protect themselves and others from Omega Biotech's machinations. After what felt like hours, Xiaoyu called a halt to the training session. Good progress, Liang. It takes time, but you're getting there. Liang wiped sweat from his brow, a small smile playing on his lips. Thanks. It's just a lot to take in. Xiaoyu placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. I know. But you're not alone in this. We're here to help each other. As the night wore on, the Alliance members worked tirelessly to fortify their base and strategize their next moves. Liang found himself growing more comfortable in this new environment, the initial awkwardness fading as he connected with his fellow spider-powered individuals. During a brief lull, Professor Li, the group's mentor and former Omega biotech scientist, approached Liang. "You've got potential, Liang. With the right training, you could be a valuable asset to the Alliance." Liang nodded, appreciating the encouragement. "I just want to make sure I can control these powers and help in any way I can." Professor Li smiled. "That's the spirit. Remember, our fight is not just about survival, it's about stopping Omega Biotech from exploiting others like us." As dawn approached, the Alliance settled into a tense silence, knowing that Omega Biotech spider hunters were drawing closer. Liang, now more determined than ever, felt a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. "All right, team," Xiaoyu addressed everyone, her voice firm. "We need to stay sharp. Omega Biotech won't stop until they've eliminated every one of us. Let's make sure we're ready for whatever comes next." Liang glanced around the room, meeting the eyes of his new allies. For the first time in his life, he felt like he was part of something meaningful. As the sun began to rise, casting a golden hue over the warehouse, he knew that his journey with the Spider Alliance was only just beginning. Liang felt the weight of Xiaoyu's words as the first light of dawn seeped through the warehouse windows. The room was abuzz with activity as members of the Spider Alliance fortified their headquarters, repairing barricades and reinforcing security measures. The tension was palpable, each person acutely aware that Omega Biotech spider hunters were drawing closer. As Liang took a moment to catch his breath, Professor Li approached him, his expression thoughtful. "You handled yourself well back there, Liang. But we need to prepare you for what's coming next." Liang nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "I'm ready to learn. What do I need to do?" Professor Li gestured toward the training area. "Come with me. We have a session planned for today." The two made their way to the training area, where Xiaoyu and several other Alliance members were already gathered. The room was equipped with various obstacles and training dummies, designed to simulate different combat scenarios. Liang could see walls reinforced for climbing, targets for web shooting practice, and areas designated for hand-to-hand combat training. "All right, team," Xiaoyu addressed everyone, her voice commanding yet encouraging. "Today, we focus on refining our skills and preparing for the inevitable confrontation with Omega Biotech. Liang, you'll be working closely with Professor Li and me." Liang felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "What specifically will we be training for?" Xiaoyu smiled. "We need to ensure that everyone can operate both individually and as a cohesive unit. Omega Biotech spider hunters are highly trained and possess abilities that rival our own. We must be prepared for anything." The training session commenced with Xiaoyu demonstrating advanced web manipulation techniques. She moved with grace and precision, her webs flying through the air like silk ribbons, creating intricate traps and barriers. Liang watched intently, trying to emulate her movements. His initial attempts were clumsy, but with Xiaoyu's guidance, he began to find his rhythm. "Remember, Liang," Xiaoyu advised, "control is key. Your webs are an extension of yourself. Use them thoughtfully." Under Professor Li's tutelage, Liang learned to enhance his agility and reflexes, pushing his limits beyond what he thought possible. The days turned into weeks, each filled with rigorous training, strategic planning, and the ever-present threat of Omega Biotech's encroaching forces. Liang's awkwardness gradually faded as he became more adept at utilizing his spider abilities, earning the respect and camaraderie of his fellow Alliance members. One evening, as the Alliance gathered in the central meeting room, Professor Li unveiled a holographic map of Omega Biotech's main research facility. "This is our target," he announced, pointing to a fortified building in the heart of the city. We have intel that they're developing a new generation of super spider hybrids more powerful and more dangerous than anything we've seen before. Xiaoyu leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the map. Our objective is to infiltrate the facility, retrieve any critical data, and shut down their operations. This will cripple their ability to continue these unethical experiments. Liang felt a surge of determination. What's the plan? Professor Li outlined the strategy, detailing each member's role in the operation. We'll need stealth, coordination, and precise execution. Omega Biotech's security is top-notch, but we have the advantage of being familiar with their technology and layout. As the plan took shape, Liang couldn't help but feel a sense of purpose he had never experienced before. He was no longer just an awkward guy with strange powers. He was part of a team fighting against a formidable enemy to protect others like him. The days leading up to the mission were filled with intense preparation. The Alliance conducted reconnaissance missions, gathering as much information as possible about the facility's defenses and daily routines. They identified key points of entry, security protocols, and potential weaknesses to exploit. Liang worked closely with Marcus and Jenna, developing tactics to navigate the facility undetected. They practiced silent communication, using hand signals and subtle cues to coordinate their movements. Each member brought their unique skills to the table, creating a synergy that made the Alliance a formidable force. On the night of the operation, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The team gathered one last time in the central meeting room, reviewing the final details of their plan. Xiaoyu addressed everyone, her voice steady and resolute. This is it. We've trained hard and planned meticulously. Trust in each other and stay focused. Remember, our goal is to disrupt Omega Biotech's operations and expose their crimes to the world. Liang took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Let's do this. Under the cover of darkness, the Spider Alliance moved into action. They approached Omega Biotech's research facility, a towering structure surrounded by high-tech security measures. Using their enhanced abilities, they bypassed the outer perimeter, slipping past motion sensors and surveillance cameras with ease. Liang's heart pounded as they reached the main entrance. Xiaoyu signaled for silence, and the team split into smaller groups, each tasked with a specific objective. Liang, Marcus, and Jenna were assigned to infiltrate the building's communication hub, where critical data was stored. As they navigated the sterile corridors, the tension was palpable. Every shadow seemed to hide a potential threat, every creak of the floorboards a reminder of the risks they faced. Liang's mind raced, but his training kept him focused. He relied on his spider abilities to stay agile and undetected, using webs to silently neutralize any guards they encountered. Reaching the communication hub, they encountered their first major obstacle, a heavily guarded server room. Xiaoyu signaled for them to halt, assessing the situation. We need to disable the security systems without raising an alarm, she whispered. Liang nodded, formulating a plan. I can create a web-based device to disrupt their surveillance feed. It should give us enough time to access the servers. With precise coordination, Liang set to work, his fingers deftly weaving webs into intricate patterns around the security cameras. The feed flickered and went dark, allowing Marcus and Jenna to breach the server room undetected. They quickly downloaded the necessary data, their actions swift and efficient. Suddenly, an unexpected surge of alarms blared through the facility. We've been compromised, Marcus whispered urgently. Omega Biotech knows we're here. Panic threatened to overwhelm the team, but Xiaoyu remained calm. We need to move, now. Secure the data and regroup at the extraction point. As they made their way through the facility, the Spider Hunters Omega Biotech's elite enforcers swiftly closed in on their location. Enhanced with advanced spider genetics, these hunters were formidable opponents, their abilities rivaling those of the Alliance members. A fierce battle erupted in the narrow corridors, webs flying and powers clashing. Liang found himself face to face with a hunter, his opponent's movements a blur of speed and precision. The hunter lunged, but Liang deftly dodged, countering with a web shot that entangled the enemy's limbs. The hunter struggled, but Liang maintained his grip, using his strength to subdue the adversary. Meanwhile, Xiaoyu and Professor Li engaged in a strategic duel with another hunter, their combined skills pushing the enemy to their limits. Marcus and Jenna provided crucial support, using their unique abilities to outmaneuver and incapacitate the hunters. Despite their efforts, the Alliance was outnumbered and the facility's defenses were relentless. It became clear that Omega Biotech had anticipated their infiltration, revealing a layer of preparedness that the Alliance had not accounted for. As they neared the extraction point, chaos reigned. The spider hunters, seemingly endless in number, continued their assault. Liang fought with everything he had, his determination fueled by the stakes at hand. Just when it seemed like the Alliance might be overwhelmed, reinforcements arrived. The sound of additional web shooters and the swift movement of other Alliance members turned the tide of the battle. Together, they pushed back the hunters, their combined efforts creating a path to safety. With the data secured and the facility's operations disrupted, the Spider Alliance made their escape, their mission a hard-fought success. Breathing heavily as they regrouped at the extraction point, Xiaoyu addressed the team. "We did it. The data is secured, and Omega Biotech's operations have been significantly disrupted. But this is just the beginning. They won't stop, and neither will we." Liang looked around at his teammates, their faces a mix of exhaustion and triumph. "What now?" Professor Li stepped forward, a determined glint in his eyes. "Now, we expose Omega Biotech to the world. This data contains everything: the experiments, the unethical practices, the lives they've ruined. It's time to hold them accountable." As they departed the facility, the city skyline illuminated by the first light of dawn, Liang felt a profound sense of accomplishment and unity. He had found his place within the Spider Alliance, a team bound by a common cause and the strength of their unique abilities. However, amidst the victory, a lingering unease remained. The success of their mission had not gone unnoticed, and whispers of Omega Biotech's retaliation began to circulate. The Alliance knew that their fight was far from over, and that greater challenges lay ahead. Determined to stay ahead of their adversaries, the Spider Alliance began to strategize their next moves. They established communication channels with other hidden individuals possessing spider abilities, expanding their network and strengthening their collective power. Liang, now more confident in his abilities, took on a more active role, contributing his unique perspective and skills to the team's efforts. One evening, as the Alliance gathered for a debriefing, Xiaoyu unveiled a new plan. "We've identified a secondary facility, one that's been ramping up their research since our last operation. It's crucial that we take it down to prevent them from developing even more dangerous hybrids." Professor Li nodded in agreement. "This facility is the heart of their new projects. Disrupting it will set them back significantly and protect countless others from their experiments." Liang felt a surge of determination. "What can I do to help?" Xiaoyu smiled, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Your experience in the last mission has been invaluable. We need you to lead a team focused on disabling their communication systems and ensuring that our presence remains undetected." As the team prepared for their next mission, the bond between the members of the Spider Alliance grew stronger. They had faced adversity together, their trust in one another cemented by shared struggles and victories. Liang no longer felt like an outsider. He was an integral part of a family united by their unique abilities and their fight against Omega Biotech. The night of the operation, the Alliance moved with silent precision, slipping into the secondary facility under the cover of darkness. The building loomed ominously, its exterior fortified against intrusion. But the Spider Alliance was undeterred, their determination unwavering. Inside, the facility was a labyrinth of sterile hallways and high-tech laboratories, the air thick with the scent of chemicals and the hum of machinery. Liang and his team navigated the corridors with ease, their spider abilities allowing them to bypass security measures and move undetected. Reaching the communication center, Liang set to work, his fingers deftly manipulating the facility systems. He deployed webs to create interference, disrupting the network and cutting off Omega Biotech's lines of communication. As the system shut down, alarms blared throughout the building, signaling the Alliance's presence. "Time to move," Liang whispered, signaling his team to retreat, but as they turned to leave, the room was plunged into darkness. A menacing voice echoed through the facility. "You may have disabled our communications, but you won't stop our progress." The lights flickered back on, revealing a figure clad in advanced combat gear, a new breed of spider hunter, more formidable than any they had faced before. This hunter moved with unparalleled speed and precision, their enhanced abilities making them a deadly adversary. A fierce battle ensued, webs flying and powers clashing in a blur of motion. Liang found himself locked in combat with the hunter, their movements a deadly dance of offense and defense. The hunter's attacks were relentless, each strike calculated to exploit any weakness. Liang struggled to keep up, his agility and web shooting skills tested to their limits. But he refused to back down, driven by the knowledge that failure meant the continuation of Omega Biotech's sinister plans. As the battle raged on, Xiaoyu and Professor Li engaged the hunter's allies, their combined efforts creating openings for Liang to exploit. Marcus and Jenna provided crucial support, distracting the hunter and allowing Liang to gain the upper hand. Summoning all his strength and determination, Liang unleashed a powerful web barrage, overwhelming the hunter and forcing them to retreat. The Alliance capitalized on the opportunity, disabling the remaining threats and securing the communication center. Breathing heavily, the team regrouped, their faces etched with exhaustion and relief. "We did it," Marcus said, a triumphant smile on his face, but the victory was bittersweet. The new hunter had proven that Omega Biotech was evolving, becoming more dangerous with each passing day. The Alliance knew that their fight was far from over, and that greater challenges awaited them. As they made their escape, the city skyline once again illuminated by the rising sun, Liang felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had found his place within the Spider Alliance, a team bound by a common cause and the strength of their unique abilities. But as the day turned to dusk, a new threat emerged, one that would test the limits of their unity and push them to the brink of their capabilities. The Alliance would soon discover that the true enemy was not just Omega Biotech, but the very nature of the powers that bound them together. Liang felt a renewed sense of purpose as the Spider Alliance prepared for their next mission. The success of their previous operations had not only disrupted Omega Biotech's plans but also emboldened the Alliance members. However, the emergence of more formidable spider hunters indicated that Omega Biotech was escalating their efforts to eliminate the Alliance. The days leading up to the next mission were filled with intense preparation. Xiaoyu and Professor Li gathered the team to discuss the intelligence they had gathered about Omega Biotech's secondary facility. This location was crucial. It housed the advanced research and development wing responsible for creating the most dangerous super spider hybrids yet. Taking it down was essential to crippling Omega Biotech's operations permanently. "We need to hit them where it hurts," Xiaoyu explained, her eyes scanning the room. "This facility is the heart of their new projects. If we can disable their research and destroy their prototypes, it will set them back significantly." Professor Li nodded in agreement. "Our intel suggests that the facility is heavily guarded, not just by spider hunters but also by automated defense systems. We'll need to be strategic and coordinate our efforts meticulously." Liang felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. "What's my role in this mission?" Xiaoyu smiled, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You'll be leading the team focused on disabling their communication systems and accessing the main research lab. Your experience from the last mission will be invaluable." As the night of the operation approached, the Alliance members felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. They knew that Omega Biotech would be expecting retaliation, and this mission was a high-stakes endeavor that could determine the future of their fight. Under the cover of darkness, the Spider Alliance moved into action once again. They approached Omega Biotech's secondary facility, a sprawling complex surrounded by high-tech security measures. Using their enhanced abilities, they bypassed the outer perimeter, slipping past motion sensors and surveillance cameras with ease. Liang led his team through the sterile corridors, their movements synchronized and precise. The tension was palpable as they navigated the labyrinthine facility, each step bringing them closer to their objective. As they reached the main communication hub, Liang set to work, deploying webs to disrupt the network and gain access to the facility's internal systems. Almost there, Liang whispered, his fingers deftly manipulating the web-based device. The system began to falter, lights flickering as the communication lines went down. Got it. Communications are offline. With the communication systems disabled, the team proceeded deeper into the facility, their path now clearer. They encountered fewer obstacles, Omega Biotech's defenses seemingly compromised by Liang's efforts. However, the Alliance remained vigilant, aware that Omega Biotech would not go down without a fight. Reaching the main research lab, Liang and his team prepared to infiltrate. The lab was a hub of activity, with scientists conducting experiments on new super spider hybrids. The air was thick with the scent of chemicals and the hum of advanced machinery. Liang's heart pounded as they moved through the facility, determined to gather critical data and destroy the lab's research. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility, signaling that Omega Biotech had detected their presence. "We've been compromised," Marcus reported urgently. "Spider hunters are on their way." Panic threatened to overwhelm the team, but Xiaoyu remained calm. "We need to move quickly. Secure the data and set the charges to destroy the lab." As they worked to gather the necessary information, Liang couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. His instincts, honed from previous missions, screamed that they were not alone. He scanned the room, noticing subtle movements and the distinct aura of someone familiar amidst the chaos. Before he could react, a figure stepped out from the shadows. Zhang Wei, a former scientist and a member of the Alliance. His eyes glinted with a mixture of desperation and determination. "Liang," he called out, his voice tinged with betrayal. "I'm sorry it had to come to this." Liang felt a surge of confusion and anger. "Zhang Wei? What are you doing here?" Zhang Wei took a step forward, his demeanor conflicted. "I've been working for Omega Biotech all along. They promised me a cure for my condition, a way to control these powers. I couldn't resist the offer." Xiaoyu stepped between them, her eyes blazing with fury. "You betrayed us, Zhang Wei. After everything we've been through together?" Zhang Wei looked away, shame etched on his face. "I didn't have a choice. Omega Biotech has resources and influence beyond anything we can imagine. They threatened my family. I had to comply." Before anyone could react, Omega Biotech's elite spider hunter Seraphine, a highly enhanced enforcer with unparalleled speed and strength, entered the room. "You've caused enough trouble," she declared, her eyes fixed on the Alliance members. "It's time to end this." A fierce battle erupted in the heart of the research lab. Seraphine moved with deadly precision, her attacks swift and relentless. Liang found himself locked in combat with her, their powers clashing in a whirlwind of webs and enhanced agility. Despite his improved skills, Liang struggled to keep up with Seraphine's superior combat prowess. Meanwhile, Zhang Wei faced off against Xiaoyu and Professor Li, his loyalty torn between his past friendships and his coerced allegiance to Omega Biotech. The sight of his former comrades battling alongside him filled him with regret, but he couldn't turn back now. As the battle raged on, Liang realized that conventional tactics wouldn't be enough to defeat Seraphine. He needed to think outside the box, leveraging his unique abilities in unexpected ways. Summoning his courage, he unleashed a powerful web barrage, attempting to overwhelm Seraphine. But she deftly dodged, her movements a blur. "Liang, watch out!" Xiaoyu shouted, noticing a group of hunters closing in on their position. "We need to protect him." With renewed determination, Liang focused on disabling Seraphine's enhancements. "If I can target the genetic modifications, maybe I can weaken her," he thought, launching a series of precise web shots aimed at her armor. Seraphine staggered as the webs began to disrupt her augmented systems. Seizing the moment, Liang swung himself onto a nearby support beam, launching a final, concentrated web attack that immobilized Seraphine. The hunter struggled, but Liang's persistence paid off, rendering her vulnerable. With Seraphine subdued, the rest of the hunters hesitated, providing the Alliance with the opportunity to regain control of the situation. Xiaoyu and Professor Li quickly dispatched the remaining threats, their combined efforts turning the tide of the battle. Zhang Wei, witnessing the fall of Seraphine and the resilience of his former allies, felt a flicker of hope. Liang, Xiaoyu, I want to make things right, he said, stepping away from Omega Biotech's influence. Liang approached him cautiously, the anger in his eyes tempered by a sense of compassion. It's not too late, Zhang Wei. Help us bring down Omega Biotech for good. Zhang Wei nodded, determination replacing his previous desperation. I'll do whatever it takes. With the immediate threat neutralized, the Alliance turned their attention back to the research lab. Liang and his team secured the critical data, ensuring that Omega Biotech's illicit activities would be exposed to the world. As they set the charges to destroy the lab, Liang couldn't help but feel a sense of closure. The betrayal by Zhang Wei had been a painful reminder of the lengths to which Omega Biotech would go, but it also highlighted the strength and unity of the Alliance. As they made their escape, the facility began to crumble around them, the explosions marking the end of Omega Biotech's reign of terror. The Spider Alliance had succeeded in their mission, but they knew that the fight was far from over. There were still remnants of Omega Biotech's operations scattered across the city, and the Alliance was determined to eradicate them all. Back at their headquarters, the team gathered to debrief and celebrate their hard-earned victory. The atmosphere was filled with a mix of relief and cautious optimism. Liang looked around at his teammates, their faces reflecting the shared struggles and triumphs they had experienced together. We did it, Marcus said, raising a glass in a toast. To the Spider Alliance, may we continue to stand strong against any threat that comes our way. The team echoed his sentiment, clinking their glasses together. Liang felt a deep sense of belonging, knowing that he was part of something greater than himself. The journey had been arduous, filled with challenges and unexpected twists, but the bonds forged within the Alliance were unbreakable. As the night progressed, Liang found himself alone in the training area, reflecting on the events that had unfolded. Xiaoyu approached him, her expression thoughtful. You did well tonight, Liang. Your quick thinking made all the difference. Liang smiled, feeling a sense of pride. I couldn't have done it without everyone's support. We're stronger together. Xiaoyu nodded, her eyes meeting his with genuine warmth. That's the strength of the Alliance. Each of us brings something unique to the table, and together, we can overcome any obstacle. Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of a notification on Professor Li's device. Guys, we have incoming messages from the authorities, he announced, his tone serious. The data we secured has been leaked. Omega Biotech's crimes are now public knowledge. A collective sigh of relief filled the room as the team realized the impact of their efforts. This is huge, Jenna exclaimed. Public opinion is turning against Omega Biotech. Their operations are being shut down, and investigations are underway. Marcus added, our work isn't over, but this is a significant victory. We've managed to protect countless individuals from their experiments and ensure that Omega Biotech can't continue their unethical practices. As the team celebrated their success, Liang couldn't help but feel a sense of fulfillment. The journey from an awkward, confused individual to a key member of the Spider Alliance had been transformative. He had found his place, his purpose, and a family that stood by him through thick and thin. In the weeks that followed, the Spider Alliance continued to dismantle the remaining pockets of Omega Biotech's influence. They worked tirelessly to protect and support other individuals with spider abilities, ensuring that no one else would suffer the way they had. Liang's role within the team grew, his confidence and skills reaching new heights as he embraced his responsibilities. One evening, as the sun set over the city skyline, Liang stood atop a skyscraper, surveying the city he had come to love and protect. His webs, once clumsy and unpredictable, were now an extension of himself, allowing him to move with grace and precision. He felt a sense of peace, knowing that his journey had led him to this moment. Xiaoyu joined him, the two of them gazing out over the horizon. "We've come a long way," she said softly. "But there's always more to be done." Liang nodded, a smile playing on his lips. "I wouldn't have it any other way. Being part of the alliance, it's given me purpose and a family." Xiaoyu placed a hand on his shoulder. "And we're always here for each other, no matter what challenges lie ahead." As night descended, the city lights twinkled below, a testament to the resilience and unity of the Spider Alliance. Liang felt a profound sense of belonging, knowing that together, they could face any threat and protect the city they called home. The final mission against Omega Biotech had solidified the Alliance's commitment to their cause, and with Zhang Wei's redemption, they had strengthened their ranks even further. The journey had been fraught with danger and heartache, but it had also been filled with moments of triumph and unwavering camaraderie. As Liang swung through the city, his webs gliding effortlessly through the air, he reflected on how far he had come. From a socially awkward individual grappling with newfound powers to a vital member of a united and determined team, his transformation was nothing short of extraordinary. The Spider Alliance stood as a beacon of hope in a world where corruption and unethical experimentation threatened the innocent. Their unwavering dedication to justice and protection ensured that the city remained safe from those who sought to exploit and harm others. In the end, Liang realized that true strength came not just from his spider abilities but from the bonds he had forged with his teammates. Together, they embodied the spirit of resilience and unity, proving that even in the face of insurmountable odds, they could prevail. As the city slept peacefully under the watchful eyes of the Spider Alliance, Liang felt a sense of accomplishment and contentment. He had found his place in the world, a role that gave his life meaning and purpose. And as he swung through the night sky, he knew that no matter what challenges the future held, he and his team would face them head-on. United by their shared mission and unbreakable bond. The city was crawling with problems, but for the first time, Liang was ready to stick around and face them head-on.